Alright, we're doing this. Alright, boys. Hello. I'm back again, and I'm actually going to kind of make a continuum here a little bit of a guide that I made, I believe, yesterday about Earth Spirit. So, a little bit about me, just in case you need credentials or you feel like I'm lacking credulity by just simply talking out of my microphone here. I'm a 4.5k player. I spam the fuck out of Earth Spirit. Sorry for the language. He is my most played hero by far. As you can see, I win a fair bit of games with him, and I like him a lot. But in tandem with the idea that I like him a lot, I also think that I might have some knowledge about him that I can maybe share with you if you're trying to learn him and play him at a decently competitive level, right? For solo queue, of course. I don't know too much about competitive Earth Spirit because he's not in Captain's Mode. But despite that, we're going to talk about him today. Although I shouldn't really say today because it's like 4 a.m. where I live. Tonight we'll talk about him. I guess this morning? I don't know. Leave a comment below about how you think about mornings when it's technically nighttime still, etc. so forth. I'm just kidding. So we pick Earth Spirit, and I got my sets all jacked up right now, but we're not going to concern ourselves with that. Every single game I play Earth Spirit, I always buy one ward, right? One ward, and then I instantly start going towards the top lane. If I'm on Radiant. If I'm on Dire, I still buy one ward, and I go towards the bottom lane. One thing I used to do when I was on Radiant is buy a ward and some sentries. Where are they? I used to buy a ward and some sentries because I wanted to block this pull as well as this pull. I have since realized that maybe that's a little bit of a waste. The extra sentry ward that you get can be used later on for blocking wards, or for blocking wards, for counter warding and stuff like that. You use one ward here, almost guaranteed you will maintain a rather long block, long enough for you to at least hit level 3, which is go time. Which can be go time. You can hit level 3, you can hit level 6, you can hit whatever level. But once you hit level 3, you can gank decently, right? And this ward will usually allow you that leverage. It'll usually allow you to go a fair bit in time in lane, soaking EXP, getting a few last hits, relatively unpunished. And then I used to buy a sentry ward. I don't do this anymore, but I'm just letting you know, just in case you want to do it. I used to buy a sentry ward and block that pull, just so that they can't pull me there either. On Dire, obviously, you don't have to do that. Although I've heard word of that changing in 6.86. Maybe they're adding a new camp so that Dire and Radiant can pull two separate camps, not just have this as a pull camp, but have this as a pull camp as well. Apparently, there might be another camp added that you can pull as well. I don't know about that though. So anyways, every game is Offlane. I don't watch for the rune. I ward this pull, and then I get in position to pull this creep, right? I always pull the range creep because that makes sure, absolutely certain, that the wave that the enemy has will pull and push into my tower. Even if they deny this perfectly, right, and they try their absolute best to not have this push into my turret, it will, okay? Then I don't even go that far up. I usually stand right about here. I mark my hero right here until I have confirmation that there's no supports about to come over and literally F me right in the A, Kappa. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to get ganked, I don't want to die, I don't want to feed first blood, I don't want to be that guy. So I'll give up a few creeps or so just to make sure that I'm safe. Then I'll go for last hits. And usually I won't get any of these, right? Earth Spirit's base damage is alright, 51 is decent, that's like average, right? But usually the carry starts Quelling Blade, and they have supports harassing me, and I just gotta back up. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna try to emulate the offlane experience as much as possible, because I don't think I have a proper replay to show you just exactly what I'm talking about. Then it gets under tower, right? The wave always goes under tower, because they can't really help it, because I pulled this creep, right? When it gets under tower, try your absolute best to last hit everything like I just did. I'm sitting at 6 last hits right now. That's enough for my bottle, which I immediately get going on the courier. I didn't cheat myself a courier this game, but I should have, just to really implement the real game experience. But I always buy bottle first, go straight into arcane boots second, and already I'm level 3. If I wanted to, I could try to get a TP and make a play happen. Or if I needed to, I could TP to another lane and get a play going. But we're gonna act a little passive in lane. Usually I act passively. I usually do what I'm doing right now. I usually just sit here and try to farm as best as I possibly can. Don't get confused here, okay? As Earth Spirit, like I said, you can roam around if need be. And if they have a Lich or something and they're constantly trying to hold the wave at their tower, because Lich can do that, because Lich is he's an alright hero, right? I might need to go to another lane because I can't. I mean, if they're running a tri lane and the wave is like, you know, always right up here, Earth Spirit's good, but he's not Broodmother, right? He's not Broodmother in the off lane. You can't like force yourself to be known and have a lane presence in Leech EXP. You don't have invisibility, you don't have free pathing. You pretty much need to make something happen if you can't make something happen, if you catch what I'm saying here. You need to go to another lane and make something happen if you can't at least Leech EXP in this lane, okay? So I've got free farm, right? I'm not gonna lie, this is not like your normal games. I've got free farm, so I'm just kind of farming against the creeps and farming against the tower, which I'm still kind of failing at in that respect, you know, live and learn. But I'm doing a decent job so far. I instantly try to, not instantly, I usually try to go, in fact, not even usually, I'd say about 90% of the time I try to go straight into Arcanes after bottle. Virtually no exceptions. And I don't mind kicking for creeps, by the way, especially for range creeps. That sucks, that creep didn't get aggroed onto me. I usually don't mind kicking for range creeps because they give a little bit more gold. I have no shame. I don't care. My mana is for kicking. And actually, really, what I should say is that I don't mind kicking a stone for creeps, right? Because stones allow you to stun the carry. They allow you to do like some long range damage, right? Kicking a stone kicks it significantly further than just kicking a creep. And then also, it gets some stones back here. And if you watch my other Ultimate Earth Spirit guide, I'll tell you, you'll know why having a stone back there is a really nice thing for when you hit level 6. But anyways, try to go Arcanes next. And then once you hit level 6, which is coming up here pretty soon, I'm not getting denied heavily against, which I probably should also try to implement if I can. I missed that creep, that sucks. But usually when you hit level 6, it's go time, right? I always try to save at least 200 mana if I can. And if I had a bottle right now, I would definitely have 200 mana for hitting level 6. Because when you hit level 6, especially with your stone or with your stun and 6 stones, you can get a kill. You can at least kill the support, if not the carry, and you can kill them for free if you catch my drift. You can kill them and not die yourself. You may use a few stones, you may use some mana, but you can kill whoever you want to kill without dying yourself, which is very important. Okay, Earth Spirit's like that. Earth Spirit, that's what Earth Spirit's about. But I'm just gonna keep farming just because I can't really very well display that, right? I could spawn a lion right now and just kill him, but that really wouldn't do much for the example. Just listen to the words that I'm speaking and watch me farm, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You get Arcanes from the side shop. Try to get a TP as soon as possible. Honestly, even before level 6, you should be getting a TP and holding on to it. And Earth Spirit, in addition to trying to get kills early game, is all about looking around the map and trying to get kills around the map in the early stages of the game. TPs will soon become your best friend as you start to play Earth Spirit and master him and understand that this hero really is all about killing everybody that you possibly can, as many times as you possibly can, as early as you possibly can, so that you can get in a significant advantage over your opponents as quick as you possibly can. Okay? You're not necessarily trying to end the game super quickly with Earth Spirit. It's one of the beautiful things about the hero is that he does scale pretty well into the late game through utility and damage in some ways. But you want to at least get an advantage. You want to be able to push towers unimpeded, right? Or if you get impeded, you want to be able to have favorable trades. You want to be able to secure Roshan. You want to be able to make a safe space for your carry to farm, because that's what role you fulfill. Earth Spirit is not an AFK farming offlane. You're not a Broodmother who tries to constantly push. You make space, but you also make plays. That's what you do as Earth Spirit. So continuing with what I'm saying here. You hit level 6, right, it's go time, you ult the carry, you get the kill, hopefully. You use a few stones, say you use like 5 or 6 stones or some crap like that, right? And you notice that you have 2 stones left or some shit like that. You are still a useful hero. Earth Spirit with 3 stones, 1 stone, 2 stones is still a useful hero. So still look around the map. Don't ever use the excuse, wow, I have 2 stones, so I didn't TP to save your life, right? Fun fact about Geomagnetic Grip, it can be used on allies, and it does not cost a stone if you use it on allies, right? You should try to pretty much, if you end the game with a KDA that matches your team's kills in every way, so if you have 5 kills, 10 assists, and your team has 15 kills, you're doing it right, right? If you don't, you might be doing it wrong, right? Try to be involved in every single kill that your team has, and try to always look for opportunities to save your team, or at least have a game impact in some way, right? That's kind of the core of playing Earth Spirit. You do want to leech EXP, and it's important to get your farm as well. But generally speaking, this hero does not need a whole lot of farm or EXP to really make a huge game impact at the stages of the game when he's supposed to make an impact, if that makes sense, right? You're supposed to make an impact on the game early, and guess what happens early game, right? in terms of your items. You don't need a whole lot of them, I guess is what I'm really trying to say there. Sorry, I made that more complicated than it needed to be. Alright, so I'm going to just do that. Oh, I thought I'd need a kick for that as well as an auto attack. So yeah, we'll cheat some gold in here. Depending on the game, especially if you saw my Dota buff last game, I think I showed you guys my Dota buff. Not last game, last guide. I think I showed you guys my Dota buff before. On Earth Spirit, I play a very versatile Earth Spirit that can basically build any item in the game other than right click and do well and exceed. Not exceed, and succeed, right? We'll go over that right now. We'll try to talk about that a little bit more in depth. So, usually I try to at least get the mech, and if I don't get a mech, I'm going some other really game impactful item that will make a difference on the game, right? But generally speaking, I go mech and arcane, or I go bottle, boots, arcanes into mech, right? And they all have their own explanations. Bottle keeps you in your lane. I don't rush. I don't even start the game with any items. I guess I should have said that more towards the start of the game. But yeah, I don't start the game with any items other than the ward, right? That's because Earth Spirit, unlike any other hero in the game that goes in the offlane that I can think of immediately, I take that back, right? Broodmother doesn't really need a Stout Shield, right? But Earth Spirit doesn't need a Stout Shield. You're not taking harass from your enemy supports. You're sitting here, right in you're parking your spot right here in your hideout, right? And you got like your master plan, evil deeds. You're the evil villain of this story, right? You got plans for this game, right? And they all start with this, right? You're pulling creeps. You're keeping the lane near this place at all times, whether their supports like it or not, right? And you're never taking harass, or you're very few times taking harass. If you're ever taking harass, it's because you're dealing harass, right? If you're ever taking right clicks from the supports, it's because you're trying to get kicks in that can get last hits and harass the carry at the same time. Your bottle helps you sustain that, right? Both in mana and health requirements. Bottle, you get the runes. Earth Spirit's probably one of the better heroes, especially for the offlane and taking the runes, because watch this. I came from here all the way to here in the course of, what, a second, right? It's very easy for you to look at the clock, say, hey, it's about 50 seconds in game. Let me just get this last creep like that, and then let me just go for the rune, right? Let me take the safe route, because I don't want to die in case, I don't know, some enemies right over there. Let me just go over here, you know, roll over here, and just get the rune right quick or some crap like that, right? It's very easy for Earth Spirit to do things like that, whereas other offlaners may struggle to do just that very thing. Okay? So yeah, you get your bottle, helps you sustain your last hits, your harass, etc., so forth, up until you get your arcanes. Right? Bottle is not a permanent fix to Earth Spirit's solutions, or to Earth Spirit's mana problems. It's a temporary fix. Okay? And you should treat it as such. Okay? Don't spam spells just because you have a bottle and just because you have a rune. Right? Unless you have like a regen or something like that. Right? Generally speaking, you're using it to get one or multiple last hits, preferably, and harass the carry at the same time. Much the same way that you would without your bottle. Right? Bottle is not a permanent fix to Earth Spirit's mana problems. Arcane Boots. Arcane Boots is not necessarily a permanent fix to Earth Spirit's mana problems, but it helps. It really does help. With Arcane Boots and Bottle, you could probably suffice your entire mana problems if you didn't also have to build items that cost mana. Right? If I didn't have to build items that cost mana like Mech, I would probably have 0 mana problems on this hero past Arcane Boots and Bottle. But you do. You have to build items that cost mana. Because you have to build items that support and influence the team. So after Mech, I try to decide for myself. Do they have a silencer? If so, I'm probably gonna rush straight into Guardian Greaves. Not always, but probably. Why? Because Guardian Greaves, after you have a mech and arcanes, is only 1650 for a hard purge on yourself. Or maybe it's a soft purge, I don't know. It's enough to purge silencer. And for 1600 gold, 1650 gold, that's a pretty cheap purge, right? It's not really 1650 gold, but after, you're gonna get the mech anyways, you're gonna get the arcane boots anyways, so upgrading it to the Guardian Greaves is really technically only like getting 1650 gold, right? I don't go Diffusal Blade or Spirit, and I do go Yules, but Yules is a little bit more expensive than Guardian Greaves from the standpoint of I already have mech, right? So if I already have the mech, which I will always pretty much get on my Earth Spirit, I might as well get to the Guardian Greaves like I just did to come back versus heroes like Silencer. It's really good against Silencer. It's good against a few other heroes like Skywrath Mage that I can think of off the top of my head. It's really good against Silencer. Because when he uses Global Silence, well hey, that's a great time for you to use Guardian Greaves so you can purge the silence off yourself. Hopefully there's teammates around that can take advantage of the fact that you're giving them health and mana. And then furthermore, it gives an armor buff that everybody can appreciate, right? It's all around, it's a pretty solid item, but I wouldn't get it unless I absolutely needed that purge on myself like I probably do. Because there's ultimately more impactful items that you can get besides Guardian Greaves, depending on the situation. One such an item is Yule's, right? I really like Yule's on Earth Spirit nowadays. It gives everything that he could ever want and more, okay? Gives you intelligence, helps you solve that mana problem, right? Gives you mana regen, helps you solve that mana problem, right? It costs a lot of mana to use, but the intelligence and mana regeneration that it gives usually supplement that, right? Between Yule's cost and mech mana cost, Yule's and mech mana cost, if you have Bottle and Arcanes, you should be pretty good. It shouldn't really be a big deal, right? If you manage and leverage your mana correctly, okay? Yule's active item, and especially the 40 movement speed. I love the 40 movement speed that it gives. But Yule's active item is so amazing on Earth Spirit, believe it or not, right? For one, let me show you. It combos or synergizes really well with his silence in a very, I guess, unexpected way. Right? You can get, like, guaranteed silences if you just do it right. Look at how, like, that's guaranteed, right? And you may be like, ah, dude, I can get guaranteed on silences with people just using the ability. And that's true. Don't get me wrong, okay? Let me show you. This is a pretty guaranteed silence, don't get me wrong, okay? But it's not a guaranteed chain CC, and that's what I'm really trying to get at here, right? I'm trying to chain crowd control a target for a very long duration. So, whoops, I didn't have refresh. Sorry, let me refresh. So... 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 4 seconds of silence, and then 2.25 seconds of stun, right? That is a long time to be crowd controlling one or multiple targets, depending on whether or not your abilities hit people in an AoE. And that's what Earth Spirit can be about if you need him to be. If you need Earth Spirit to be a lion, he can be a lion. That's why that's one of the reasons why I think he's really good. It's because he's very versatile in his builds. I've talked about this before, but I'm just trying to really beat the idea in your head, because it does kind of matter what you build on this hero. Who knew that item builds actually matter? Anyways. Another thing he can be, and this is like, I don't know, something that every new Earth Spirit really tries to, like, get overzealous about, is a like Safeguard Bastion Vanguard Sentinel Protector, right? Like a super, like, I'm gonna go Ags, I'm gonna go Force Staff, I'm gonna go Blink, I'm gonna go all these items that make it so that I can get into position to help my team when they need to be saved, right? Don't sell your team too short, right? In some situations, Ags is a really good item. But generally speaking, I like Ags for the fact that it also deals a 300 damage nuke in an AoE, including the target that you click on, right? The Ags upgrade, believe it or not, I'll get it real quick. The Ags upgrade on Earth Spirit actually gives you a nuke on your ability. Oh man, I really wish I had. Okay, we can just do this, and I'll get a Blink Dagger right now too. Because Blink Dagger is also pretty good on Earth Spirit. But, anyways. Ags, fun fact about it, if I can use it. Oh my god, I gotta WTF this. Can I use it? Nope, I can't. Okay, we're gonna show you right now. This is something that not a whole lot of people really take into account, but it actually is a big difference. Spawn, wait. Create hero, lion, enemy. Ags, as you'll see in a second here, does damage. A sizable amount of damage. This is a level 1 lion, but it does 300 damage. Now let's add some things up. 300, 200, that's 500, 700, 800 damage, right, that you have between all your abilities if you combo them correctly. Usually you won't, and I don't mean you'll usually not combo them correctly. What I usually mean by this is that usually you'll use Ags to disposition a carry, and you'll have to use your other abilities to off-put them somewhere. But if you're in a team fight, right, and you use your ulti like this, and like he's chipping down, and you're like, man, time to get another remnant out. Do that. Watch this guy. He becomes a remnant. It works just like you think it does, okay? That's a little fun fact for you Earth Spirit players that don't get Ags enough and don't realize what Ags does. Okay, I've tested Ags pretty extensively on this hero. I've gotten to a lot of practice games and tested the item. It's really good, and it works basically every way that you could ever possibly want it to work, and more with Earth Spirit. So don't underestimate an Ags if you're trying to learn Earth Spirit, okay? The item is not bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's just situational. And usually if you get Ags, you probably need to get Blink. Probably. So keep that in mind as well. It's more than just a 4,200 gold investment. It does give you some stats, and that's nice, but, you know, cost and benefits. Balance in all things, as Earth Spirit would probably say. He's a balanced hero. Remember Kappa from my last guide? Okay. Another thing about Earth Spirit that some people try to build him as is this crazy damage builder, or damage dealing hero. and I can show that in a second. They try to go Veil, and I've even seen in pubs, I've seen Dagon a lot. Now, I'm not going to talk too much shit about either of these items, okay? I think Veil is a fine item on this hero. I don't think it's bad in any way, depending on the game at least, right? Basically, I don't think it has any negative elements to it, or negative, like any glaring, like downsides to the item. I think the item pretty much works well with you overall, right? The health regeneration is kind of negligible, but plus 6 damage, you do auto attack with Spear sometimes. 6 to all attributes, that's always great. Armor, always great. Increased magic damage. For the duration this lasts, right? Veil will definitely give you more damage than a Dagon will. But I understand sometimes you're like, man, after I get my Veil, I want to get a Dagon to really capitalize on the whole spellcaster crap. That's fine, okay? If you're taking over a game and you think you're going to have to carry your team, whatever, do it. Personally, I prefer the Veil, the Veil Aghanim's route, because Veil, I believe, works this way. This is going to kill him, I think. Yep, it does work that way. Veil does stay on the target. We'll see it again when he responds. Veil stays on the target even if they're Earth Spirit Axed, which is really, really nice. See? He's veiled still. And it'll amplify the damage too. Notice he took amplified damage there. Veil is really good with, I guess, Dagon, if you want to think of it that way. But it's really, really good with Ags. So if you're going to go Veil, consider going Ags. And then after that, consider getting a Blink Dagger. If you want to go the damage dealing route. Okay? Don't... How do I word this without pissing people off that go into pubs with their spirit and build Dagon first every single game? Don't think that Dagon is your best source of damage. That's what I'll say, okay? Dagon's a nice form of damage, right? And most of you fucking Lion and Lena players out there are going to be like, man, or Nature's Prophet, Dagon first items, guys, are going to be like, man, Dagon's so obvious, like, go Dagon, like, you're all about magic damage, go Dagon, right? I wouldn't want to go Dagon on Earth Spirit just because it's such a one-track item. It does have a burst damage element to it that leaves very little counterplay, unlike the other items that I mentioned. Veil, it amplifies your damage, but you're going to have damage coming in over time. Veil has counterplay to it, whereas Dagon can't counterplay that, right? But that you can kind of run away after I do this to you. So I'll acknowledge that Dagon has a burst damage nuke to it that Dagon can never ever, or that Veil can never ever really that Veil can never simulate, right? But I'm just saying, give Veil a shot in your games, give Aghanims a shot in your games, because it's not bad if you're the damage dealer. Okay, 80 to 90% of my Earth Spirit games, I'm not really looking to get damage just because I understand that I am not usually going to need to be the damage dealer, nor do I want to be the damage dealer, nor can I afford to be the damage dealer, because usually my team needs me to play a protective / utility-based Earth Spirit, right? And if I want to go damage, like I told you guys earlier, I often just consider going a Yules or something like that, because that kind of amplifies your damage in a way that is CC based, right? You CC somebody for years, they can't deal damage to you. That means that you can deal damage to them. That means that you can kill them. Alright? And so what is the last thing I want to talk about? Talked about builds. We kind of talked about how I play the offlane. Teamwork. This is something I could probably will make a guide about in and of itself, but I'm just going to briefly talk about it now. Earth Spirit is very much a team-based hero, okay? You are not a lycanthrope, okay? You are not a broodmother. You are not somebody who's going to win the game without your team. You are going to win the game if you pick Earth Spirit and you play him very well, but you're going to win it with your team. And you need to always remember that, okay? So, and I've seen Earth Spirit players that do this before. There's this, like, mentality that when somebody picks Earth Spirit or Ember Spirit or Invoker, they think that they're, like, or Meepo, they think that they're, like, above other people, right? And, again, this might be a mute point, a shallow point, maybe this has no merit being in a guide, but I'm just going to bring this up, okay? You need to rely on your team to some degree or another, and you need to respect your team in some way or another, okay? If your team feeds, don't say, OMFG, TA sucks, report please, right? And spell it terribly, right? Don't say shit like that. Say stuff like, in team chat, TA, I'm coming to gank for your lane. Or something along those lines. Because you are a team-based hero. You need to respect the fact that you're probably not going to be solo winning games with your 3rd Battle Fury and your 5th Sanjin Yasha or some shit like that, right? It's just not going to happen. Okay, so I don't recommend you trying to play that style of Earth Spirit if you think that, oh man, I don't need my team, fuck my team, okay? Respect this hero, and he'll respect you. Respect your team, and they'll respect you. Again, that's probably not exclusive to Earth Spirit, but it definitely applies on this hero more so than other people may think, right? Just because you're playing a skill-based hero does not mean you have to be an asshole to your team. Honestly, try to just treat your team, right, like a bunch of newborn kittens that you just, like, nurtured from the Humane Society or some shit like that, right? You would never, ever call your newborn kitten that you just got from the Humane Society a piece of shit that deserves to die, you know, degenerate, whatever, right? No, you would be like, oh, I can't believe you made a little poopsie there. Let's go clean it up. And try not to make a poopsie again, right? Replace poopsie with getting ganked mid lane by the lion or something like that, and you can literally just act as if this conversation is synonymous. Literally just replace poopsie, right, with please don't get ganked mid lane again, and you've got the exact same tone of voice that you should be using with your team, right? Be nice and be politeful. Respect them, and they will respect you. You're Earth Spirit, right? You're one of the most loved heroes in the game to play with, right? Do you know how much fun it is to get pulled and saved, and how cool and badass it looks, right? Create hero. Lion. When your lion is sitting here feeding and doing stupid stuff, and you're like, dude, lion, get over here. And then you kick him, and then you roll with him, right? Or some crap like that. Or even cooler is when you, like, this is the coolest. I've had people say that I look like I'm like Naruto, like sweeping in from an anime or some stupid crap. You roll in, and he's out of position, and you save him, and then like you kick the enemy and stun them and stuff, and then you like get into fight or whatever, and he's walking away with 2 HP, breathing. He's like, oh, thank you, Naruto-kun, or some stupid crap like that, dude. You look so cool, dude, right? And it just feels so cool. Like, you're a loved hero in this community. Don't think that you're like a Shadow Fiend that everybody has to see in 50,000 of their games, or an Ember Spirit that people are like, dude, quit copying Arteezy. No, people love you, okay? So try to love them. Anyways, that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to really talk about. If you have any questions at all, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, or come to my stream and ask me. I will be more than happy to answer them. Anyways, you guys have a good day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.